Hello and welcome to Blood on the Tamesis, the prelude of Joanne's Salt. With me today I have...
I'm Layden, I'm playing Joanne Salt.
So this is a special episode where we're going to get to meet some of the protagonists of the main chronicle and find out a bit about them before they became vampires. So, here we go. So it is the year 2000. It is towards the end of the year 2000, around November. November the 20th, in fact. And before we get into your first scene, for the benefit of people who are listening or watching at the moment, what does Joanne look like?
So Joanne is about 5'6". She's short black hair at the back with long bangs on the front and red half moon glasses. She's not like overly skinny. She's got kind of a lot of lean muscle to her, and she's got, similar to what I'm wearing right now, surgeon's coat, a smarter shirt than probably what I've got, but...
So, Joanne is getting ready to go to her shift for work, but before she's going into the hospital itself, she is currently ring shopping. And something that I would like to ask you to start us off is, what kind of engagement ring might Joanne be looking for?
Well, she's definitely looking for something with either a ruby or an amethyst, because those are August's favourite colours.
Okay.
Not gold, because she can't stand gold personally.
Okay.
She feels like it's a kind of overly grand gesture when you bring gold into it. So she definitely looks like something silver.
Mm-hmm.
And something not on the expensive side either, because...
Okay, okay. I
something that
like
looks good.
it. All right. So how about... So what we're basically looking for is something that looks good, is not too expensive, is kind of maybe a silver or platinum band, and maybe an amethyst or a ruby stone.
Like that, yeah.
All right. So why don't we make, let's say, a manipulation and, shall we say, finance?
First one, yeah.
Because what you're trying to do is get what you want, but get it on the cheap. And you're going to try and bargain your way into this ring deal.
2 successes.
Now, you can spend willpower if you wish as a mortal. You don't have to. It depends how much you care about the person you want to propose to. I mean, maybe you want to stick. Maybe you want to stick on 2 successes.
Let's spend that willpower.
Okay. 3.
One more to make 3.
All right, so we'll say that you can get a ring which you think looks good, looks nice, will pass scrutiny, has the favourite colours, fits your taste. So you're quite happy about that. Something to think about that I will be asking you later is where you're intending to do this, and kind of if there's anything in particular you want to prepare or not.
Okay.
So you work in the John Radcliffe Hospital, and you're currently on working late shifts, and you're having a fairly quiet evening. There's no surgery booked. You're just on call in case something happens, and you have a number of junior doctors that are kind of, run around the corridors looking worried, that may occasionally come to you for bits of advice, often about things that they basically know, but nevertheless you
need the extra.
But just need the
reassurance.
Yeah, they need the reassurance and that kind of thing. However, when most people have gone home, probably about 1 in the morning, something like that, and things are relatively quiet, you will get a call to prep for surgery that someone has come in, and you'll be going through your normal motions and that kind of business, but you will see when they're bringing the patient in, and the patient seems unconscious, they're being wheeled in on a gurney. You have what looks to be a police officer with them, and you will recognise her, not because you've had dealings with the police particularly before. If you make a intelligence, I'll say flat intelligence, but it's a low difficulty.
2 successes.
Yeah, so you've seen her, and it takes you a while because you've actually seen her out of uniform You once operated on a member of her family, and it was one of those procedures that was very touch and go. It's actually something that you've been developing. You're one of the only people that could do it, and it was also like even you weren't sure if it would work out, but it had. So she's coming along, and there's a look on her face, like she doesn't look very happy to be here. And as they're being kind of wheeled through and everything's being set for the surgery, you will see, because you're quite insightful with people, you see her turn away from the door and kind of, not towards you, but you catch that look on her face of utter disgust and rage. And she makes her way over to one of the vending machines. What are you doing?
I'm going to follow over to her first.
Okay.
And kind of approach her and say, could not help but notice your demeanour there. What did he do?
Oh, hello, Doctor. She like extracts a bar from the thing and begins to kind of aggressively chew it. You'll notice she looks to be in her kind of late 30s. You'll see from the bars on her arm that she is an inspector, and she's got kind of quite practically shortcut, like very shortcut hair, which is blonde, and she looks like someone who maybe works has a job like yours where sleep is an optional bonus rather than part of the standard package. She says, "Oh, I don't know how you can do it, Doctor. I don't." She gestures towards the room. She says, "It's one of those bloody whiteheads." Shakes her head. Someone stabbed him. Just didn't do a good enough job, in my opinion. Sorry. It's been a long day. I'm really sorry. I shouldn't say it. Just
Sometimes the feelings, we can't ignore them. Can't keep them buried down.
he's one of these bastards that just gets through the system, you know. He's I shouldn't say anymore. I'm sorry. I just
Well, any extra knowledge you can give me would be helpful to...
I can tell he's a tough bastard. He's I don't know much about his medical history. Just that he's one of them, you know, got his fingers in some bad pies and doesn't treat his missus very well. Not very well at all.
So I immediately think less of him.
I mean, we know he's doing it. We all know he's doing it. We just can't prove it, and she won't say nothing. I just don't understand it. And now, she gestures. We're going to pay for him to get better. It's a bloody disgrace, what it is.
The Hippocratic Oath is a hell of a thing sometimes.
Well, that's what I mean, Doctor. I don't think I could do your job.
Not many people can, and I wouldn't... Sometimes it's a burden.
She nods. Says, well, I probably shouldn't keep you from your work.
I should probably pay, yes.
She kind of shuffles off.
Nod and head to prepare for surgery.
Okay, so you prep for surgery. You will find, you'll get the notes on the patient, which is a guy called Shane Whitehead. He is 39, and he's kind of obviously he's laid out for you to operate on. He's currently unconscious. He has he's been struck multiple times. There's been some kind of altercation, some kind of fight, but he's also been stabbed and needs immediate surgical attention. Just to say a few details you'll notice about him. He is mixed race. He has a kind of a sparse kind of scattering of stubble on his face. On his right arm, there is a tattoo of a pack of dogs, but not an aggressive pack of dogs, like a pack of dogs kind of sitting all huddled together in quite a almost cute way. You will notice marks on his knuckles that suggest that he might have punched someone recently. Some tests will come back. There are, I mean, obviously you're having to work relatively quickly, so you don't get a full thing, but you don't believe there are any drugs in his system beyond alcohol, and there's no other kind of urgent medical history. So he's laid out. He is quite built, you will notice. You think he works out, particularly his upper body. Like one of those people that doesn't quite balance it all up, you know?
Skips leg day?
Maybe skips leg day, yeah. Maybe skips leg day. So what are you doing?
So it's looking fairly urgent. He's got to be...
Oh yeah, if you've got to operate on him now. Otherwise, he's got internal injuries. So if you don't patch him up now, things are gonna get pretty bad.
Well, I guess I'll start the situation and try to remedy it as best I can.
Yes. And so am I to understand from that statement that you are going to just basically try and operate and save his life?
I will try. A little less harder than I possibly should do.
Okay.
I will still try.
Can you make me a dex? It's going to be surgery, so we'll say it's dexterity and medicine. Yes, your specialty applies.
So that gives me 9 dice.
You're very good at your job. You're very good at your job.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6 successes.
Yeah, you patch him up, and yeah, you think he will have a complete recovery. So you finish the work. He's sent off. Everything goes fine. The next few days will pass fairly kind of innocently or nicely. Are there any plans you're making for your proposal?
I'll definitely call a nice restaurant ahead of time.
Yeah.
And let them know that I will be proposing to my hopefully fiance at this point. Probably about 8-9 o'clock. Definitely make sure I've got the day off because I don't want to get called in.
Sure. So you book the time off ahead. You book the restaurant. Do you want the restaurant to do anything at all? Like, do you want them to bring the ring out with dessert? Do you want them to, or are you just going to do that whenever you want to do it?
I'll do that. It's less personal if they do it.
Okay.
Make it personal.
And are there any other preparations beyond the restaurant?
Aside from getting the ring, which
yeah,
I've got.
So yeah.
Nervous but confident.
Okay, so you are on the kind of the build up to this. A few days go by. You've made your booking. Are you telling August that you booked dinner, or are you surprising her?
I'm definitely telling her. I've just got a nice evening for both of us. Just booked out.
Okay.
Hopefully trying not to let on that.
Okay.
I'm incredibly nervous about this meeting.
Right. All right. And are you dressing up for this?
Of course.
Okay. So let's say the evening comes. What kind of restaurant is it?
I think it's upper scale Italian.
All right. So it's a nice Italian restaurant. You probably arrive early. Are you waiting outside or inside?
I'll go in and make sure all the staff know that I'm the one here. I'm the one proposing tonight. I need this to be right. I need this to go well.
Everything's fine. They assure you that everything is fine, and you get your table. And August will come in. So she is a white woman in her late 20s. Although you know that she has brown hair, she's dyed it grey. She's just a tiny, tiny bit taller than you. Not very much, but she does make a point of reminding you of that as often as she can. And She's wearing like a nice-ish pair of trousers, a reasonably nice shirt, and you clock the moment where she looks at the restaurant and is like, "I am horribly underdressed for this occasion." Um, she's quite a kind of fit woman, and she's fairly broad-shouldered. And as she crosses the restaurant in no small amount of time, and comes to sit down, she'll give you a kiss, sits opposite you. She says, "You didn't tell me it was going to be. I mean, you said dinner. I just thought we were going to go to. I mean, I just thought we were.
I just want the best for you, you know that? Like,
you're funny, you know that. Well, seeing as you are my fancy surgeon, I suppose you can take me out for fancy meals sometimes. So, right, should we have a look at the menu? Are we going to? I tell you, I could murder a drink. Should we get?
My treat. You're...
Well, in that case, right. So she gets the menu. She'll order some wine. Nothing too off the charts. She's maybe drinking a little faster than you might appreciate before the food arrives, but she seems to be having a good time. So, how's work?
There's a patient that I had to operate on today. He was a... Oh, I'm just going to say he's a bit of a scumfuck. I think how you put it when you saw that guy on TV last night.
Yeah, I mean, well, soaps are different. So you can say that kind of thing with a soap. You can't say that. So, what was he? Was he rude to you or something? I know some people.
Well, he was accompanied by a police officer, and she couldn't tell me what he'd done, which could only lead me to believe that it was something pretty bad.
Yeah, that's rough. That's rough. You should. She seems oblivious to your slightly more nervous state than usual, and proceeds to work her way through about half the bottle as the starters are brought. You will notice, however, that there's a point when the waiter comes over and is bringing the starters and looks at you and looks at August, frowns a bit, as if surprised, and then goes away again. August does not notice. She's oblivious. She's happily eating.
Kind of look after him and kind of...
Maybe if it was in your imagination, maybe he seemed a little disapproving. Just saying. So, the starters come and go. The main course, unless you're doing anything, comes.
As the main course ends.
So, she says, "Oh, that was good."
There's something I've been wanting to talk to you about for a little bit, actually.
Sure.
Well, we've
Sorry,
been together.
Excuse me.
We've been together for 5 years now, and I'm just going to do it. I'll pull out the ring and... August, will you marry me?
So she's just putting her wine glass down as you do that. Oh, Joe. Oh, I mean... Oh, shit, you're really... I mean, this is real.
Yes.
Just... Look, I mean, this is good. We're having a great time. But it's, oh, shit.
I see.
Look, I'm
just going to take out the money, pay, and just walk out.
You're about, halfway across when you hear her saying, "Joe, wait!" And you think she's dying to... Are you getting the hell out of there?
She's made her intentions clear. I'm leaving.
So you leave. You hear her calling behind you, like, "Please, Joe, wait!" and trying to kind of. Are you going to wait for her, or are you just going to get out of there?
I'm just going to go for a walk somewhere.
Okay.
Don't really know where. Somewhere.
You go out for a walk. Out onto the streets of Oxford at night. Are you trying to avoid being followed or spotted by August, or are you...
Not particularly, just want to be out in the night, not really thinking about much, and
Okay.
wishing I'd drunk a bit more.
Okay. So you will catch the sounds of her kind of calling after you, but when you don't stop, she calls one more time and then doesn't follow. But she's definitely called loudly, like loud enough that it would kind of echo out. The other people will kind of look around, you know, on the streets. And you walk out into the night and you get fresh air and you feel pretty shitty. And the night passes in a not great way. And so when you turn up to work the next day,
Probably not slept.
yeah, you're not at your best at all. And when you're getting prepped and doing your paperwork and stuff, and you have an email. It is not an email address you recognise, but it is dated last night, and there are some photographs attached to the email.
I will cautiously open them.
Yeah, you have this kind of, this clearly must be a spam of some kind. But when you open the attachment, you will see there are a number of photographs that are showing, they're close-up shots, and the kind of shots you've actually seen quite a few of in the past. But they are showing what look like blunt force trauma injuries on what you would guess to be a young woman. You're pretty sure it is not anyone you know. You know, it's like, that's August, right? It's not like that. It's and the subject line is just, you know who.
It was him. That's what he did, isn't it?
And obviously it's dated last night. So
I take the photos and delete them from my email, but save them onto like a USB or something. So I've got the evidence there.
okay, yeah, you get a memory stick,
Yeah.
and you save them over. Pretty much fills the memory stick. There are several photos. You save them, and time goes on. Things move towards, only a few days pass. You will probably, like when you finish work at some point, you'll have like a missed call from August, but you don't follow it up. There is a message. Do you listen to it? Okay. So things kind of move towards December, and you haven't had any further contact with August. And again, you're kind of on call. One of your junior doctors, Phil, will come up to you. He's a reasonably nice kind of guy. He's in his mid-30s, white, got a little goatee beard. He's one of the more kind of friendly doctors who is kind of there. He's relatively easy to work with, and he comes up to you and says, "I'm sorry to bother you, but someone's come in, and I don't quite know what to do with them, and it's not looking good. And I wondered if you could come and take a look."
Of course, you know I'm always here to help. I'll
Okay.
lead the way.
Can you make a quick wit and awareness roll for me?
Okay. One success.
Okay. It's not as you're going along, kind of making your way through with him. You will briefly pass through one of the public areas, and you get a lot of strange people in, particularly at night. But you just have the feeling that one of the people who's sitting in the waiting room is kind of staring at you as you pass. It's not entirely uncommon because people are often like they're waiting for a doctor so they can get some news,
So
or
they see a doctor go past,
and they're like, yeah. But what's different about this is they don't look like they're worried. They just look like they're staring, like in a kind of very direct, like, you know, almost like look, maybe actually it's an angry patient who feels they've been kept waiting too long or whatever. Phil immediately doesn't like seems to tend to something else and just kind of keeps going.
Do you have... What's going on with that? Are you...
He shrugs.
Do you
He says,
know?
not me.
Okay.
So you move your way through. Yeah, it was. I mean, you don't get a very good look at them. It was a youngish woman, you think, but not anyone you recognise. So, yeah, he'll take you into this room. There is a man there. He's unconscious. He is very, very pale. He looks to be about 5'8". He's got brown hair. He's quite a plump guy, quite a sort of biggish chin. He looks. The clothes. Most of his clothes, like they've stripped away part of his clothing, but the clothing that is there does look like it's quite expensive. And Phil says, "What do you make of this?" And he points at the guy's got loads of what look to be like kind of bite marks on his chest and upper shoulders, and also what looked like someone's raked him with their nails, maybe as well. But give me a quick intelligence medicine again, I think.
Medicine?
Yeah. Or no, you can go academics if
Yeah.
you want.
Yeah.
Intelligence academics.
Same thing.
Yeah, it's all fine. But I like to use academics
Yeah, fair
because
enough.
I always feel sorry for people who've taken academics on their sheet.
That means you feel sorry for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm spending willpower.
Spend that willpower.
So it is 1, 2, 3, 4 successes.
So your first impression is like, is that an animal bite? And then you're like, is it a dog bite? No, it's not a dog bite. Is it a rat bite maybe? It's weird. But there are multiple bites. They're not massive, but they're messy. Like it looks like he's been attacked by some kind of animal. And he's deathly pale. But and the wounds are not massively deep, but he seems to be in critical condition. They are trying to keep him alive as you're looking at him. And it is evident that he seems to have lost a horrendous amount of blood. A horrendous amount of blood. Phil's going, well, I don't know what to do. What should we do? What's the best thing here? They are trying to do various things to reinfuse, stuff like that. It does not seem to be working. Your initial assessment is...
He's gone?
He's fucked.
Yes.
He's going to die. But you don't think Phil has the confidence to make that call, and that's why he's come to get you.
Yeah, so in that case, I'll walk over to the probably the lead nurse who's probably in here and just go, stop. His wounds are too deep. He's lost a metric fuck ton of blood. Do you want me to make the call?
Yeah, they do.
Time of death, 6:07 p.m.
So the nurse will step outside. Phil looks quite shaken. He's like, "What are you?"
Is that your first? It doesn't get any easier. I'm going to tell you that now.
What should I have done? What should I have done? What did I do that was wrong?
I don't think there was anything wrong you did. You look at the puncture wounds like that and all the bites. And I kind of just like gesture to the huge rake across him as well. So humans are resilient. They can't survive that.
It just, I mean, they don't look infected. I don't understand what. I've never seen anything like it. Have you?
Not particularly, but you learn to stop being. This is going to sound horrible, but you learn to stop being shocked at a certain point. Okay. They might be people with lives, but occasionally there's nothing you can do.
I might just need a few minutes outside. Is that all right?
Take a break now if you want to.
So he steps outside. What are you doing?
Assuming these bites do not look like anything I've ever seen before.
I mean, it's really hard to classify them. I mean, you're not kind of a vet, but you're thinking animal, but it genuinely like puzzles you. There is something odd about it, and also the size of the wounds, and I mean, the cause of death you suspect is probably just kind of heart failure, but there's something about this that does not add up. It seems odd, like to the extent that you wonder if actually there was that the bites are a red herring and there is a secondary condition that's killed him.
Well, I'm going to take a look and see what I can on the body.
So you are engrossed in studying the body. When the door kind of opens, as someone kind of comes into the room, and they kind of march across the space. Something in your internal radar says this is someone. This is not Phil coming back. And you hear them say, "Oh, Alan." And as you look up, you see a man, and he looks like a mess. His shirt is untucked. It's a very nice shirt, but it's untucked and it's all kind of pulled. He's got a jacket on, but it looks like you don't know if he's been pulled through a hedge or something, but it's got little bits of like branch stuck in it, and some of the seams have been ripped, and he is quite pale, and weirdly familiar. Make an intelligence and politics roll.
That's just 3. 4 successes. Critical.
Okay.
No, 5, sorry.
Okay. You recognise him as one Denton Fesk, who is he's a member of Parliament.
Yep.
You've never seen him like this before. You've only ever seen him on those kind of nicely composed kind of posters around. And he's staring at this man, and he says, and then he looks at you, and he looks absolutely furious, and he says, "You should have saved him."
There's nothing we could do here.
Oh no, not in this bloody NHS hospital. And he pulls out. He kind of, you see his fist clench in utter rage, and his lip curl. You're quite perceptive, and you know quite about people. You know, one of the things about being a doctor is sometimes you get little telltale signs that maybe they've got a condition or they've got something. There's something wrong with him, and you can't place what it is. But he's not behaving you're not sure if he's in shock or something, but he's not behaving entirely naturally. What are you doing?
First off, I'll just turn to, please, sir, as you can see, we've done what we can. I'm trying to investigate what happened. If you don't calm down, I'm going to have to call security.
He looks at you, and he looks angry, and he says, "You will not call security on me, bloody cheek." And he looks at the body again, and says, "Look at what you've done." Can you roll me
That's what I thought was coming.
resolve and composure?
Three successes.
Okay. 3 successes, you say. You do look. You haven't done anything wrong, but nevertheless, your head. You find yourself like, yeah, okay, I'll humour him. I look. You turn. You look, and as you do so, I'm going to roll some dice. You feel a sharp pain in your back, your lower back. You haven't been stabbed before, but you think that you have now been for the first time stabbed. You feel a sharp pain, a flash of shock. You're knocked kind of onto the table where this dead man is. And you feel the knife pulled out from your back. And then you hear Denton say, "I'm going to bloody kill you." What are you doing?
I imagine I'm probably in some hell of shock right now.
You are, and you've just taken 3 points of aggravated damage.
Okay.
You've been stabbed in the back somewhere with your medical knowledge that tells you this is not good. You do not want to be untreated for very long here. What's your immediate response?
My immediate response is kind of just get up and run.
He is between you and the door, but you're just going to try and barge past him. Okay, I would like a strength and athletics roll from you. And don't worry, he is also going to make a similar roll.
Yeah, that's a failure.
Okay. So this, if anyone's ever watched Bridget Jones, and there's a kind of a classic fight scene between two kind of Brits who can't fighting each other not very effectively. Yeah, as you start to run, he snarls, and for a second there's something about the set of his teeth that looks wrong to you, but you only fleetingly catch it as he barrels into you, and the two of you go kind of stumbling across the tray where the nurse was working. You kind of crash into it. A couple of the implements kind of fall off. There's a jangling sound. Some part of your mind hopes maybe that was noisy enough to let people know. He is looking like he has lost the plot. He looks like he has completely lost it. You would like security here right now. He has a knife. What are you doing?
So is he like...
So he hasn't grabbed you. He just kind of knocked into you, and the two of you stumbled across the room, crashed into this table, and now you're kind of against it. He is between you and the door. He has a knife in one hand, nasty little thing it is, with your blood on it, and he has this kind of insane snarl on his face. It is not a good political look. What are you doing?
I think I'm just going to take whatever is like near me on like a tray that I can find, throw it at him, and again go for the door.
Okay.
While shouting for security, as loud as I can.
You start shouting for help. So let's say we're gonna say you're actually trying to dodge. You're trying to escape rather than fight. So let's say it's going to be dexterity and athletics versus his dex and melee.
I'm spending willpower to re-roll that one.
Okay.
That make a difference? 3 successes?
You manage to get by him. His knife slices a new kind of gash in your lab coat, however, not in your flesh. And one hand clutching your back, you get to the door, which you swiftly open.
Absolutely.
You've got a very slight lead as he turns around, snarling, and starts to run after you. What are you doing?
Trying to get to, like, as part of the hospital I know is as populated as possible, while screaming bloody murder along the way.
So you're screaming at the top of the lungs. You run down. You start running down a corridor with him chasing you. Okay. The thing that strikes you is how, I mean, it's late, but how empty the corridor seems to be. Like, maybe Phil should be coming back now, or maybe the nurse might be coming back now. I mean, there aren't many people on at the moment. And hospitals can be eerily quiet places with very long corridors sometimes. You now really appreciate as you start to run. He's running after you. He's also snarling. And he is, maybe on your day you might be able to, but he is chasing you pretty relentlessly. I'd like you to make just a quick straight stamina roll for me.
No successes.
Okay. I'm going to make a quick roll for him. Oh, so he's gaining on you.
Yeah.
You're losing blood. You're not going to win this race, a part of you thinks. This is getting quite bad.
Yeah.
You are not. Your life has not prepared you for this moment thus far.
And I don't think anything could.
So, you hear his footsteps getting louder, getting closer, getting louder, getting closer. You get to the end of a corridor. You can't understand why you haven't seen anybody. This is kind of ridiculous. You look around the corner and you've come out of the main kind of, if you like, the private area and the various kind of wards and things, out into the kind of the waiting area. There is a receptionist. There is also that weird woman sitting on the bench. What are you going to do? You feel, by the way, you're starting to, like, your vision is starting to go a little
flag,
bit.
Yeah.
Because also the exertion of running is
Forcing more blood out.
yeah. You are literally like squeezing it out the new hole. So what are you going to do? You don't know how much longer you've got. You've kind of burst partly into reception.
I'm like shouting for the receptionist. Janet, there's a man with a knife. Fuck.
She's like, and around that point, you see a few odd things happen. So you stumble towards the reception desk. You're starting to kind of, you can still see and hear and think and speak, but it's getting harder to do things. The doors behind you burst open to a snarling, like straight out of a horror movie kind of, and not a necessarily high budget one.
Not even looking, just.
You're aware of them coming behind you. The woman who has been sitting on the bench is standing up, and what she does is she starts coming towards you. He's coming from behind. You see there is a knife in her hand, and you're just like, are they in cahoots? She comes towards you really quite quickly. You're aware he's coming on you, and in the last moment you see she's not going for you. She kind of goes over and past you, and then you hear some kind of kerfuffle behind you.
While that's happening, I'm stumbling around the reception desk to try and get to a phone.
So you're like trying to pull yourself up the reception desk and reach towards the phone. And finally, like, your vision is starting to tunnel, but you do manage to get your hand onto the phone. And as you're going to pick it up, a hand comes down over yours and presses it down. The receptionist, to their credit, is trying to also call security. And you get this moment where the receptionist just cannot deal. She's screaming, everything is going on. And then you get this kind of moment where she runs off, like the phone in hand. And as you say, fuck, a voice nearby you says, fuck. there is a moment where you try to take things in, and then you black out. Some time passes. You come to the sounds of what seems to be an argument. You don't feel good. You don't feel right. You're laying on some kind of hard surface, or fairly hard surface. Beneath your fingers, you can feel a little bit of texture, like you're laying on a very thin rug of some description. There's a woman's voice you can hear, and a young man's voice, very young man's voice you can hear, but less frequently. As your vision starts to kind of focus in, you recognize the woman as the one that you saw in the hospital. She is essentially, she's got kind of short hair cut and a bob. She looks a little bit like a kind of blonde Velma from Scooby-Doo.
Okay.
She's wearing a kind of polar neck jumper. And you can hear her saying, I've got one for you. Because you were supposed to find someone ages ago. You've been letting us all down. And I think she'll be perfect. I think you'll like her. And you hear him say, I don't want anyone. And as your attention comes to the person speaking, you can see someone is sitting down. You're in maybe someone's bedroom. You in someone's bedroom? There's like some bookcases and there's stuff everywhere. There's like bits of, there's like odd tools lying about. There are books lying about. There's a weird mishmash of stuff. Some of it looks like someone took some things out of a workshop and just kind of dumped them in a room, but also in a room where someone has quite a strange collection of book tastes. It's all a bit odd. And the person who's sitting in a chair having the conversation, he is got like a like full on kind of goth makeup, white face, black lipstick, like black eyeliner, curtains, dark, wearing, he's got like a black top with like tape around the sleeves, fingerless gloves. He looks about 16, you suspect, like under the makeup. And she's saying,
So am I lying on my back or my side?
you are lying on your back. It occurs to you that something has been put around you, but even without a full inspection, you don't think it's been done properly. That is your immediate
just feel
sense.
it.
You can just feel shoddy workmanship. And you hear the conversation going. You hear her saying, and anyway, if you don't, she's going to die. And you hear him saying, and she says,
What the fuck is going on?
She doesn't seem to register your voice, and she says, look, thing is, it will really piss off Isabel, and I think that is something we should both cling to in this time. And he says, keep talking. She says, fine, do this for me and I'll call it even.
I'm going to try and start getting up.
He sighs.
If I can.
You try and get up. It hurts. Everything swims. You think you've lost a lot of blood. You think you're in a really bad way. She says, brilliant, great. I'm really glad we had this conversation. Good work, good work. And then you hear her starting to walk out. And you hear the door shut. So the guy, the young guy or teenager comes over to you, looks at you, says, oh, shit.
And who the fuck are you?
He says, hang on a minute. He pulls out a little pocket watch looks at you, looks at it. He says, be about 10, maybe 20 minutes. And then just stands there looking a bit bored.
What the fuck is going on?
And then after a minute,
I got stabbed and
he says,
where am I?
He says, you have had a bad day and it's about to get a lot worse.
Fucking shit.
He sighs. I don't want to do this. Bullshit. He goes over, picks a book out off the shelf, starts reading it. You think you're in bad way.
So you're just going to watch me die?
He says, pretty much.
You're just as bad as him. Fuck you.
Every so often he checks his watch. What are you going to do? You're bleeding out. You feel shit. You could try and drag yourself towards the door.
First, I'm going to kind of try and feel how my back is.
Sodden.
Yeah.
Sodden and still bleeding.
I'm assuming I'm in the same clothes as...
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're in the same clothes. If you didn't know better, you think someone picked you up, made some really half-assed attempt to just stop the worst of the bleeding and then just dumped you on the floor here, wherever here is.
I think that I'm just going to kind of, as much as I can, kind of try and make my way to him. It's like, if you're going to watch me die, just give me answers.
Oh, for fuck's sake. He puts down the book. So I suppose that's fair. So here's the thing. He says, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You're fucked.
Yeah, I guessed.
And in a moment, you're going to die. And then I'm going to bring you back, and then you're going to be about 3 times as fucked as you are now.
What?
And that's just the way it is.
Are you fucking kidding me? We can't bring people back.
No, you can't bring people back. Oh, she didn't tell you anything, did she? She's a fucking bitch. Ugh. This is fucking unacceptable. This is fucking unacceptable is what it is.
Oh, fuck.
Look, when you wake up, you're going to be really angry.
I'm down.
The last thing you hear as you lose consciousness is him sighing. Everything goes black. And then you taste something. It's the only thing you're really aware of is the taste of blood on your tongue. Bitter, thick blood. It is unpleasant. Your body wants to reject the taste. But you're not in control of your body at this point, and so the blood is tipped down your throat. And you feel it work its way through your body, your dead body. And you feel it pushing its way, forcing its way into your veins. And it's like the numb parts of your body start to feel as the blood makes its way. So it's like a very slow sensation. You can kind of trace its progress through your internal system, your network of veins as it works. And of course, you being you, the names are popping up in your head like, oh, okay, yeah, it's reached there. Oh, it's traveling quite fast. But it's a very background thing. It's a very unconscious thing. There is a part of your body that wants to reject it, like someone rejecting a donor's blood. But your body doesn't have a choice. And it almost feels like you want to vomit that blood up. You want to kind of expel it from your system, but you can't. And as it works its way through your system, there is a kind of building sense of something. It's distant at first, but it's almost like a wave that is growing and growing and is going to crash on a shore. And that is of a kind of an intense need and an intense hunger. How much willpower do you have left in your track?
3.
Okay, I would like you to roll 5 dice for me, please.
4 successes.
Okay, so you're going to get to decide what you do next.
Oh.
When your eyes open, you are in the same room, in the same clothes. This guy is still standing there. He's still looking at his watch. When your eyes pop open, he kind of goes, "Oh, you are the hungriest you've ever been. You are ravenously hungry. And the first thing you're looking for is food. And there are lots of different things, lots of mess, lots of stuff in this room, but none of it looks edible apart from potentially him. You have this weird instinct to throw yourself onto him and puncture his skin with the fangs that are currently pressing against your bottom lip and taste the blood that is there. However, you are not someone prone to furious displays of whatever, so you can, if you wish, hold it in check.
Absolutely.
But it is foremost in your mind when you're looking at it. I mean, it's not that you really want to feed on him, but he's the only thing here, and you are desperate. It's like a churning, like maybe there was one time you did a detox for fun or something, like by the end of that 24-hour period where you would eat anything. Right now, it's like that. Like your stomach not only feels like it's empty, but it also feels like it's eating itself. And you feel hollow, but you also feel strong and angry and hungry and all of this stuff at once. He leans back slightly when he sees the look in your eye. He's kind of watching you carefully.
Kind of sit up and... So? Answers? What the fuck did you do to me?
He looks quite impressed. He walks across the room, and you now notice that the door to his room is open, and he closes it, and comes back and sits down. He says, "All right, fine, I suppose I've got to do this. I'm Barnaby. Who are you?"
Salt. Joanne Salt.
Right.
Do you care?
Honestly? Joanne. Joe?
I don't think I'm really in the position to be bargaining right now, am I?
Basically, it's like this. You're dead. You're a vampire. You can't go out in the day anymore.
Check my pulse.
You check your pulse. You don't have a pulse. The reason that you've been made into a vampire is bullshit. The reason that you got all this happened is bullshit. It doesn't change anything. Hold on. He stops. You are still, every moment, thinking about the fact that you are hungry. He tilts his head, and then he goes like this, puts his finger to his lips, and he picks up what looks like a little bit of flat metal that looks like it's been partially cut for something. And he also picks up a very small hammer. He looks at you and he says, "But now I'm going to tell you all the really important stuff that you need to know, and I'll tell you about myself and all that kind of thing." He starts walking very carefully towards the door. He says, "And so here we go. Are you ready?" He says, "Listen closely." He puts them down, picks up some cotton wool, puts the things in his ears, throws the cotton wool over to you, gestures for you to do the same. And then you don't when you do it, you don't hear him saying, but he seems to be saying something. And then he goes, bang, 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 but it's kind of muffled through the thing. Can you make a wits and awareness roll?
3 successes?
Could be your imagination, but even through the cotton wool and the banging, you think you hear a woman's voice loudly swearing "fuck" on the other side of the door. He looks, for the first time you've seen him, quite pleased. He puts down the things, takes out the cotton wool, comes back over to you.
I'll take it out as well.
He says, "Right, now we've got a bit of privacy." He says, "I'm Barnaby. I'm a vampire. You're Joe. You're a vampire. And you're fucking hungry."
Yes.
He says, "If you're hungry and you make a mess like that prick Denton did," he says, "then you'll be dead as he is." So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to get you some blood. He leans in. He says, you've got to make your first important choice. All right? He says, what are you going to feed on?
I'm a surgeon. I can... There's so much bagged blood in the hospital. I have no problem getting to that. That's...
Good.
I...
So long as you
God,
don't...
this is happening, isn't it?
He says, there's only one thing I'm going to give a shit about, and that's that you don't feed on people.
I wouldn't.
He says, and you don't give me any shit.
Again, I'm not really, I don't think, in a position to do that.
Then we're going to get on. Great. Come on, let's get you some blood.
All right.
So you go out with Barnaby. You go to the hospital. Well, you will have to break in and get some bag blood. I would like you just to make a roll. You can get some red dice for this. You're currently on Hunger 5.
Oh, okay. Fun.
So I just want to see how your first attempt to get bag blood goes.
So am I doing my hunting pool?
Yeah.
Yep. So... Fine.
You can have an assist. You can have an additional success
Ooh,
from
okay.
Barnaby because he will be helping you in this matter.
All 5 dice are red.
Yes.
2 successes.
Isn't that 3?
Oh yeah, 3.
You go in. You go into the stores. He watches the door while you're in there. It's very quiet. Obviously, it's nighttime. And when you rip open the first bag and you put it to your lips and you drink, it tastes good. And a thought flashes through your mind that, you know, you should be careful because of that. And then you are tearing bags, consuming stuff. When you are done, you have made a hefty dent in the stores, and there is some difficult cover-up to do. Suffice to say, some time passes. Most of a year passes, and you start to spend time with Barnaby. And I just want to give you a flavour of what that experience is like.
Probably begrudgingly. On both of our sides.
Barnaby basically wants to do his own thing. And providing you don't stop him doing his own thing, he thinks you're okay. But of course, there are lots of times that you can't. He teaches you some of the rudimentary things. However, the main issue that you have is when you're in the room with Barnaby, now that you're no longer hungry, you start to notice things. You start to notice in detail how messy it is, how cluttered it is. And it bothers you. Like, how can you think in this environment? How can you function in this environment? Do you do anything about this?
Assuming he doesn't want me to mess with his things, I'm going to try and get back home to my nice, clean house.
Oh yeah, he tells you can't do that for a while, until you're a bit more stable. When you do finally, so after some months, you are allowed to go back home, but he'll often go with you, or will often be in the vicinity when you are going back to work. And a number of things become apparent. One is, of course, that you have lots of bills and lots of mess and lots of life stuff. You have about 57 messages on your phone from August, who is clearly panicking and is worried that you've killed yourself or something. Do you get back in contact with her, or do you leave it?
I think I'd shoot her a few messages, like enough to let her know that I'm okay, and as far as I was concerned, she'd ended it there and then.
Okay.
But she's still welcome to keep in contact if
Okay.
staying as friends, which hurts me more to say, but
when
I say it.
When you leave that message, because Barnaby is probably not that far away when you do, he says that was a mistake. You don't want friends anymore. Trust me.
Well, I... What do you mean? I can't... I'm not going to just isolate myself.
He shrugs. Your call. Well, it's a mistake. And so the time passes. You begin to learn the rudiments of what it is to be a vampire. You don't see the sun anymore. You are constantly aware of your hunger, your need to feed, and you make your trips to the hospital on a semi-regular basis. During this time, Barnaby is always with you. This is extremely annoying. The only perhaps small consolation is he seems as annoyed as you are by this whole process. He won't tell you kind of much beyond that. He just occasionally hints that things are going to get worse. And then one day, somewhere around the end of 2001, I should say you've still been working as a surgeon. You've been working night shifts. You've been maintaining some semblance of a life, but you haven't really been keeping up with your family or your friends very much at this time. And Barnaby just keeps saying, don't answer, don't put them off, put them off, put them off. He just steers you away from any of that.
I will push back slightly, kind of like I'm not isolating myself for you.
Okay. He doesn't fight you that hard. If you want to see someone or you want to do something, he won't stop you. Do you? Who are you going to see?
I don't know. Someone.
Well, let's say that...
Someone that isn't him.
Let's say that August has continued to want to see you. And she will push, even if it's just a very quick coffee or something, just to see you. Do you acquiesce?
I'll ask her to come and see me on my break on one of my shifts.
Okay. So on one of your shifts, she comes out to see you and she is like, Joe! Oh my God, I thought you were dead. And she comes up to...
It would hurt me more than you know. Please.
Okay. You get a waft of her perfume. You get a sense of her warmth. One of the things that really strikes you now, particularly in your job, is how warm bodies are. And one of the problems that you have when you perform your surgery is that it sheds blood. And you have been working to fight that. But what surprises you is that she doesn't have any cuts, but you're still aware of the blood, acutely aware of the blood in her and her warmth. And a sort of memory, weird memories of the times you've been together and you've been intimate together come up, like it's so natural. A part of you would just want to kind of get in close, just to feel a bit of warmth. But I assume you don't. She says, I don't know. It's funny, I've been thinking about what to say to you, and now I'm here. I don't really know.
Neither do I.
Look, I'm really sorry. I think I was just surprised. I didn't mean to, I didn't want to cut you out. Can we just go back a bit? Can we just take our time a bit?
We can't be together again. I'm not going to open myself up like that again.
I just wasn't ready. We were having a good time.
It was 5 years. That's...
Yeah, but marriage, it's a whole deal, you know? Can't we see each other? Maybe
As far as I'm concerned, it ended that day. I'm sorry.
Well, look, you've got my number. And if you need me for anything, are you okay? She looks a bit more closely at you for the first time.
It's been a long few months.
Okay. She steps away.
As she gets out of earshot, she whispers, I love you.
Despite your best intentions, you do find yourself becoming more isolated. You do find that people... It's hard to be around people. It's hard enough being around them when they're stationary, let alone when they're active. There's something about them being active that makes them more captivating to you, makes them more appealing. There comes a day, however, when Barnaby says to you, okay, it's going to happen. So I said that you're more fucked. I didn't mean because you've got to have blood now. You got brought back from the dead, and there's a cost price, you know, like paying your tax, and you haven't been paying your tax for a while. So
Shouldn't you have told me about that earlier?
why bother? I mean, it was going to happen anyway. So here's the deal. You're going to have to do a second job. This surgeon thing, it's only temporary, really. Your proper job, the important job, the job that I do. And you're going to have to work with some other people. I mean people loosely.
Like us, right?
Like us. They're all going to be arseholes, and they're all going to do horrible things. They're all going to try and use you. They're going to try and manipulate you. They're going to treat you like shit. And my advice to you is keep your head down. Don't trust them. They're fucks.
I don't have a choice in this, do I?
You don't have any choices anymore.
I didn't think so. So when does this other job start?
About now. You ready?
I guess so.
Come on then. He gets up, pulls on his big coat, and takes you to the door.
Wait for a few seconds, kind of giving him the fuck you eyes before following.
And as you step through the door, that is where we'll bring our prelude to an end. So thank you for watching. If you want to find out what happens to Joanne next, when she meets the rest of these horrible people who are going to do terrible things to her, tune in to the first episode of Blood on the Tamesis, Season 1, coming soon.